God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for attending Edgeworth Town Council meeting, Monday, February 20, 2026. Do a roll call here. Mr. Bryant?
Here.
Ms. Sweet?
Here.
Ms. Buck is absent. She's with some family members, I believe, and Ms. Brooks.
Here.
Also with us is Dustin Huddleston, the town attorney, Rhonda Barrett, court treasurer, and John Myers, town manager. The minutes of council meeting February 9th, 2026, and executive meeting February 11th, 2026.
If there's no discussion needed or amendments to be made, I'll make a motion to approve them. And I have that Ryan was absent for the meeting of.
So let's do each
Is that
one
correct? We have to do them
Yeah.
separate.
individually, and then we can.
So I'll make a motion to approve the council meeting minutes of February 9th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll abstain.
Any discussion on the next set would be the executive meeting of February 11th, 2026.
Second.
There's no discussion, I'll make a motion to.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Claims, Rhonda, please.
Yes, in your packet, you received a claim docket in the amount of $586,395.33, and I added some claims today that totaled $6,749.29. So the new total is $593,144.62. All claims have been reviewed and signed.
Any questions on the claims, council?
I make a motion to approve the claim docket for $593,144.62.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, ordinance 2026-3, amending ordinance 2025-15, and annexing of real estate. This will be the second reading. Mr. Huddleston.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you recall, we had introduced this amended ordinance last meeting. This is just correcting the legal description on the approved ordinance you've done in the past on annexing the ground. There is 31 and 252 commercial real estate, so it is ready for your adoption. So we've already conducted a public hearing as well.
Any questions, council, on this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2026-3 of amending ordinance 2025-15 and annexing of the real estate as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the interlocal agreement concerning the sale of personal property. Mr. Huddleston.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you recall, Mr. Jones had some personal property items that he wanted to sell to the city of Cambridge. This is the document that memorializes that, and then the next item on the agenda is the actual bill of sale that would also be approved to execute. So this is providing personal property as is, whereas with no warranties for $500.
You approve the interlocal property?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then we'll piggyback off of that with the bill of sale.
Mr. President, we need a motion for you to sign.
Oh,
I
okay.
make it on your seal to sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, John. And now the bill of sale.
Make a motion to approve the bill of sale for the just reference purchase property.
All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion for Council President Piercefield to sign off on said bill of sale.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Dustin, the creation of firefighter merit board.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you recall, we implemented the 1977 fund for both police and fire. Part of that process, which was a long process, was creating two boards for the police department and one board for the fire department. Those were the requirements. The two boards for the police department were the pension board and also a merit board. With the merit board for the police department, that deals with the hiring of and any disciplinary matters with police officers, but also hiring of new officers. Um, And the pension board deals with the pension related to the 1977. The fire department has a pension board as well. What was not required was creating a merit board for the fire department in 1977. Whatever reason, the statute doesn't require that. So in the last pension board meeting for the fire department, the board members discussed, and I brought up the topic that as of now, if there's any hiring or disciplinary issues with the fire department, it would go to this board, as I told you. So you have the option to create a fire merit board, just like the police merit board that would handle those matters instead of the council. And it's totally optional. You don't need it for the 77 fund for the fire department. But it's something that if you want me to do, I can create. And we can implement.
Do other towns have the merit board with the fire
Yes.
department?
A lot of, I know a lot of cities do. We're a town, but there is some other towns that have those. But definitely cities, Franklin, Cleveland. I think Trafalgar is fire department. But some towns don't have fire departments, so that's why you don't see that. But they are common.
As a fireman, it has worked.
Yeah, so I'm sitting on both sides. The, as the ifs are fact, so we were the merit board, this board, and we have separated ourselves. What I do feel like is it can dial that board in on one item, all the items like we have. I'm sorry, police merit, and I think it'll be the same way for, we have that in the event that we didn't need it. That's my recommendation and Chief's recommendation. I think Chief Little would echo the same from their side, how it was a valuable asset. So it does distinguish us as a bit more of a professional department.
Thank you for the explanation.
So it's again entirely up to you folks, but I would highly encourage it.
Is it the same amount of members as, is it a 3-member board, just like the police?
I don't know yet. I'll look into that, and then once if you authorize me to create it, then I'll provide that information.
We think that's a baseline to start with, and then if the department would grow and we can add to it, but I don't know that we can retract, but I think we can add to. So I think 3 was the absolute zero number that we could have. That way it was a fair board split. So, but Dustin, when we talked to him previously, kind of echoing off of that, we'll make sure we know what T's need to be crossed and what I's need to be dotted. So,
Do we need a motion for that, or?
yes.
Just to authorize me to draft the necessary documents.
I would like to make a motion for Mr. Huddleston to make the necessary documentation to create a firefighter merit board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the correct stenographer, I hope I didn't butcher that too badly. Error in January 12th, 2026 council meeting minutes, Ms. Barrett.
All right, on the January 12th meeting minutes, it stated that the January 12th meeting minutes were approved. It should have stated the December 29th, 2025 minutes were approved. So we just need a motion for me to notate on that signed document that just to draw through the date and write in the correct date.
So moved.
Wait a minute. So, hang on, so we had a motion and do we have a second?
I don't think I wasn't at the.
I think it was so fast, I didn't see it happen.
Simultaneous.
I studied it all day, so I know.
Oh, you weren't at the meeting?
So
No,
at the January
okay.
meeting.
Mike, I believe you were.
Yeah.
So I'll second it and then we'll, all in favor?
Aye.
And then Sherry will abstain. Okay,
Thank you.
all right. We're very quick on that one.
I studied it all day. I called Emily twice.
She knew what it was about.
All right, Rhonda, the Baker Tilly CIP FSP, please.
All right, at the last meeting, Scott Finley with Baker Tilly gave a presentation on the Baker Tilly BT Plus, TIP Plus, and also on the capital improvement plan and financial sustainability plan. You received the scope of work in your packet, so if the engagement letter, if you guys are ready to go with this plan, that needs your approval and needs approval for somebody to sign off on that scope of work. And Scott's here to answer any questions if anybody's got any questions or needs any further information.
I did do a little research this last month, and you were highly recommended with the Baker Tilly and you to help with that. So that eased my mind a little bit. Spending money.
So that money paid off, Scott.
Yes. That's right. Oops.
As we alluded to, and I'm sorry I couldn't make that last meeting, but I think it's what Scott and Baker Tilly are going to offer for us is going to be invaluable. So as I spoke in the meeting, Scott and I had a video conference, and I felt like we could greatly benefit from this. So
Is that how we actually present the motion to approve, just as it reads there? Or are we approving the actual engagement letter?
But it's
It's
approval of the engagement letter
here's the
to,
approval of the engagement letter.
Anybody else have any discussion? Any questions? I'll make a motion then to approve the engagement letter dated September 9th. Well, this says 2024 with the Baker Tilly Advisory Group, the CIP/FSP.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
and then somebody to sign it.
Motion for Council President Ryan Piercefield to sign off on the Baker Tilly CIP/FSP.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, Sarah Beth, the request to use the NRO Plaza funds for the Downtown Plaza project.
Yes, so, and Ron, I don't know if you have anything to add to this. This is basically just moving the funds that we've already received for the plaza project over into that NRO fund. We've got a payout that we need to do for the disposal of the foundation that the street department helped get out of the area. So we've just got a couple of things, and we've got other things that are going to be moving here in the next couple of months. So just want to make sure that those funds are available to start paying out.
Is Sarah Beth, once they get in there and get that done, is that going to be like the last of it till they actually start the actual construction on the new area?
Yeah, so why don't I bring this up now, if that's okay? So we've been, over the last couple months, been talking to Crossroad Engineering, HWC, and Blue Lamp Erectors out of Trafalgar, which is the stage construction company. And I know, Ryan, with your work with Trafalgar, you're probably very familiar with their process with the amphitheater, so that's something that we're looking to do here. So I don't have really any hard numbers. I've got a couple of hard numbers from HWC, but Crossroads really wanted to start working with a landscape architect, because we need a full site plan, so we need to do, let's see, how do they categorize it? Basically, material selection, function, layout of the plaza, including any kind of water features, stage, selection of finishes, and audio-visual design that would fit with a landscape architect. So that's what Crossroads was proposing, but in order to get us a number of proposals, they really need to work with the landscape architect. So they were asking if we wanted to choose that, if that's something that we wanted them to go forth and choose, and then get us some information. So they really can't answer any information about our space until we have something moving forward. And HWC has given a couple proposals. One is to try to fully do everything, like the whole scope of work, and one is to offer kind of a master plan to let us do the bidding. So I'm looking for guidance. I didn't know if we can move forward with choosing one of these contractors, or if that's something that we have to get multiple bids, or if we can just choose. I know, talking to other municipalities, I know Trafalgar in particular, they chose Crossroads, and Franklin has chosen Crossroads and moved forward. So just looking for some guidance on this.
I would encourage you to talk to Brian Gray if you haven't recently about his.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
what is your inclination?
I would like to talk to a couple of others, I think, before we make a decision. Like I said, HWC did give, and we have worked with them on several projects. Obviously, we've been to UDO and worked with them on the comprehensive plan. We're working with them currently on the Ready project. So I would like to reach out and get a little bit more information from them. And they have also given some recommendations for a landscape architect. The number was a lot higher than I was expecting that to be. So I want to talk to them about how can we kind of piece this out and get a little bit better budget for what we currently have. And if we need to seek further funding for that. We've got grants that are out right now, and I know even with the Lily of Down and Richard Park Arts and Culture grant that I'm working on right now. So there's other potential funding, and I know that our redevelopment commission also wants to allocate some of the same funds. So I'm really not worried too much about the funding, but I just want to make sure that we're working with the right folks from the get-go.
Thank you.
And so in order for her to do that, I will need to advertise and for additional appropriations to spend that money. So they've changed it a little bit. We don't have to advertise in the newspaper now, just on their website, but it's still a 2 weeks. So in order to, if you guys are okay for her to do those funds, then I will start the additional appropriation process.
So Sarah Beth, is this the only quote you have for this job, for this particular part of it,
Fill at the
for the
backfill.
backfill?
Yes. Well, no, that's separate. So we have several quotes on filling that. The issue is the engineers that we've talked to, we've been asking, what can we fill this with? And they don't know yet until we get a site plan. So we've got a range from $14,400 to $45,000 for filling that. But Blue Lamb Erectors, the stage construction group, said that they're going to be digging down at least 3 feet, which is what that currently is. So there's no reason to fill the whole thing when we know it's going to be, some of it is going to be dug out in the future. But there's a quote, well, we have an invoice from Rumpke for the brick disposal, and then we do have that bill quote, but we really don't need to do that now until we get a site plan.
So the site plans first. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. Don't have to do that.
So you're, just so I'm trying to get clear on this, if looking to get other engineers or besides,
Yeah.
fantastic. Okay, yeah. I'm all for that. I mean, I think
We have plenty of dirt to put in there from the cemetery, from graves. That's why I asked Sarah Beth to check to see if we can just put dirt back in there, because we've taken out all the block instead of paying the company to bring in dirt or stone or whatever. We could just put the amount of stone that we need to put down at the base and just fill it in with dirt, cut cost. But nobody will give us an exact answer.
Without a plan.
We got piles of dirt.
I don't know why we couldn't put dirt back in it. To me, it's a safety factor too. You've got a gigantic hole over there. Dirt's only going to settle and compact over time. So Sean, Bill, got any input you guys on that? Stan, you were all into that. Let's put dirt in it. And if that, it's gonna settle over, by the time this is done, by the time we're ready to construct, it's gonna be settled. And then if we need to put more in it, we can. I really don't think we need to pay for an engineer to tell us what kind of dirt, because it's gonna be something.
Well, they're saying that they're gonna have to dig some of it out. Whatever we put in there, we're gonna have to dig so much out. We're just trying to figure out what we need to put down the base and pack to cut cost.
I know what came out of there. I think we all know what came out of there. It was dirt and sand. So I'm personally think we need to put that back in there.
Okay.
If you guys that are out digging in it every day think different, tell me, but I'm right there with you. So, council, do you see any reason to spend more money on that right now?
No.
Would that pacify this for the current time being, Sarah Beth? Would it?
Yes, I think so. And even if it's just dirt, I mean, they said 3 feet that they would be digging out, and it won't be, that's how deep it is, so it's not gonna be any more than there's already there.
You could also compact and track it, like do it, and also, move it around the next grade or something, you can track it.
That, you guys have a roller out there, Sean, a roller compactor? I've got a big reversible if you want to use that. I mean, we can do this without, and it seems like it has 4 sides, doesn't it? Or it's encased, or is it open on 2 sides?
It's got 4 sides, yeah.
So even easier to contain it and compact.
No.
Okay,
Weather permitting, are you on any certain time? Are we on any certain time frame for this?
No, not really.
Okay.
In all of our grants and any of those funds, we've been looking at the fall anyway for a.
That's fantastic. Let's do that. We get it in before the rainy season, then it'll really help. Combat that. Okay,
Yeah, right.
and then engineers, different engineers or design, okay?
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I think Blue Lamb will do fantastic, so
I think so, too.
they're top notch.
Yeah.
They do fantastic work, so.
Got plenty of dirt out there, we're gonna take the back truck dump it too.
Okay.
It runs, that's what came out.
That is exactly what came out. Yep. All right, I think it's what we do. John will execute on that.
Yes, sir.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, everybody.
For future, then I'll go ahead and start that additional appropriation process so that
It's taken
it's
care of.
ready whenever.
Yeah, and then if we
comes
do
in.
find an engineering firm that we like and will actually be responsive, and then we can dial that. And it's ready.
Yeah.
So we're not being reactive, so. Okay. Bill, the well cleaning quote, please.
So as you all know, in 2016, our well, made it 2 months now. In 2016, our well, one of our wells quit, and we operated on one well for almost a year. And that well was put in 1929, or 1923. So our wells are old. So anyway, in 2017, we started doing whatever we could do to find the well. And the wells had been out, we were gonna move back and drill a new one, and then Bowitt decided that they didn't wanna do it that way. So we ended up moving it to the park, and we threw a lot of money at that well to get it in quick so we could have more than one water source. So anyway, that well's been active since 2018. Peerless Midwest put it in, they've been my well company since 2016, and it's just been a great relationship with it. And so, but anyway, well finds the production has slowly went down over the last few years. We have to test them and do things to them every year. And they're suggesting that if we don't do something now, within a few years, we probably won't have a well. So they want $34,300 to actually pull the well and take a big giant console, what I call it, and run it up and down, and pour chemicals and clean it. So that's what it is. It takes a couple weeks. Then they're gonna take the well, pump itself and the motor back to the plant and rebuild it. Which at this point is working just fine, so there shouldn't be a whole lot of expense there, but that's a different expense. So there should be a minimal charge for that. But I just need to get, permission to be able to have them schedule it, because it'll take probably a month and a half to get it on the schedule, to get on the schedule to get them in to do it.
Can we use the SRF funding for this?
We tried that, but then that price goes up to about,
I think you told us that at the last one. didn't
That's
you?
right.
it's just the way that.
Linda, I feel like this is your fault back there.
You already broke her arm. What did she do?
It's just like everything else, the state requires so much more stuff to go through SRF funding, and it makes that price almost that much more. It's unbelievable. So.
Plus you said it's gonna take 2 to 3 months to even get this on the
Get
schedule,
it
right?
on there. It is working right now. We've been fighting the main break somewhere, and we know it's located, something about 1 million gallons a day. Our average is about 650.
Were you anticipating this, even if you couldn't use the SRF, were you anticipating
Yeah.
this?
We have a fund set back or whatever, however, maintenance fees that we keep our wells. I cleaned our new well that we had put in with the new plant. I've already had to have it cleaned, because of the issues we were having with it. The quality of water was coming out, the state required us to clean it. So 3 and 4, all my wells have been rehabbed with this new project. But well 5 is the only one that didn't touch with this project.
So it needs to be done.
It needs to be cleaned. I can go out and get other quotes, but then you're dealing with well companies that you've never dealt with. And I just call it sole source. It's their well. I want them to take care of it. That's all I need.
So Bill, did I understand you have 5 wells?
And they're all Irwin Park, and then one at the old plant there at Rio Lake, North Walton.
So if we have one down, it's okay, because you have 4 other ones that'll be
The
fine.
way our wells are structured now, we have wells 3 and 4, they only pump 500 gallons a minute. And our plant's 1,000 gallons a minute, so we have to run 2 of them together, those 2
Okay.
together, so you have to always count those as one. So then that leaves us with, 3, basically, when well 5 goes down, which would be well 6, well 1, well 3, well 4. Well 1 is our oldest well. It used to produce 1,000 gallons a minute, and it was 128, 29 feet deep. And we call them to come in and clean it, and they got down into 78 feet deep, which means the stream has failed.
Mm,
The quality of water coming out of that well is really good. So we just debunked it, they're down to 750 gallons a minute, and we blended it with well 3 and 4 to get the 1,000 gallons a minute we need. So I run 3 and 4, or 1, 3 and 4, basically together. So that leaves, if well 5 goes down, that leaves us with 1 well producing 1,000 gallons a minute. So our plant is capable of doing 1,500 gallons a minute, so I need to keep 5 going. So
Sounds like you have a plan.
it's
Good.
It's been when you're down to 1 well, it's pretty scary. I mean,
bet, yeah.
It's really scary because when you think of what happens if you can't produce water, well, that means nobody's brushing their teeth or going to the restroom or staying in the hotel. So,
We have a backup plan with Eastern Bartholomew.
we do now.
Yeah, we didn't, but we do now.
So
So
we
we
have
have
an
a,
interconnect, if we ever have an emergency issue, we can turn on water coming from Eastern Bar.
and I think if Princess Lakes, if we could figure out their pressure issue, that'd also be a redundant.
Once whatever's going on the north side there of the river with that process, getting close, they were trying to do an interconnect with us, they went through all the engineering, they had grants for all that stuff, but then with everything that's been going on, everything got down to nothing. So that's where we're at. I just need to get permission to do this, and if you don't mind, I would appreciate it.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve the Peerless well cleaning quote for $34,300.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Mr. Killinger, circuit breaker incremental pay schedule.
On that, does that need a signature on the
Oh, it
bill?
does.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it
Sorry,
does.
Kevin.
Sorry, hold tight, Kevin.
Make a
She
motion
doesn't
for.
have his name, so it's
Well, I still have to make a motion to allow.
Allows signature.
Is this the copy that you have a primary that I can send?
That's the same thing you have.
Well, then if we-
We've
I'll
got
just-
one here to,
Then I'll sign it. Or It doesn't matter. I'll sign it and it's done.
Make a motion for President Ryan Piercefield to sign the well cleaning quote.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, sorry, Kevin. Ahead of us.
Before you is an agreement, as you know, last month, council approved purchase of some new equipment for the substation, spare circuit breakers, just over $207,000. Before you is actually a 30% down payment to process this order, and 70% will be delivery. The schedule that you see in front of you is if you were to cancel the equipment, if you have no intention of canceling this equipment. So tonight, it's agreeing to the 30% down payment and the remaining 70% on delivery of the equipment.
Kevin, the 30%, does that prevent us from getting any kind of escalation cost or anything to that
That's
effect?
box and set.
Okay, I'm all for it. Yeah. How many times we've gotten stuck on that?
So we just, is our motion, sir, to, for the approval of it, the circuit breaker incremental pay schedule, is that the actual,
Motion most likely would be agreement to the 30% down payment.
Down.
okay,
That's not in order, so that's why I make a motion for it, make a payment towards, I can't remember who that was. Who was that?
Brownstown.
Brownstown
Brownstown.
Electric, that's who I thought it was, but it would be like a 30%.
you folks have any questions, any discussion? Make a motion then to approve the 30% down payment in reference to the circuit breaker incremental pay schedule for Brownstown. Is it Brownstown Electric? Brownstown Electric.
Second.
All in favor?
There's no signatures. Doesn't look like on there.
There's no signature on that one. I'll take that. Okay. The Doppler contract renewal, Mr. Ethan.
At the last meeting, we left some paperwork with council. Staff would like to renew our Doppler agreement. Instead of going to an annual renewal, we'd like to do 3 years at a time. They have offered a 5% discount for a 3-year term. They've included the previous terms, I believe, that Hubbardston has looked at. I've met with staff and we would like to stick with Doppler. It's a wonderful product for on-call services. Before you is year 1, year 2, and year 3 costs. So I'm not sure if you so choose to move forward, how that motion will be passed. But you have an opportunity to take care of the next 3 years where you don't have to see this.
Any questions on that, council? I'll make a motion to approve a 3-year contract with Doppler. To incur the 5% savings.
I agree. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You don't need to look at that. Go to
It's the
that.
same, as you said, so it's good.
That's exactly what he presented, yes.
All right,
And
finally,
signature on that one?
Yeah, on this one, there's not a name on it. There is a signature line, so John can sign this.
you have it here tonight.
Yeah, we've got a copy of this one.
Okay, I'll make a motion for Council President Piercefield to sign off on the Doppler proposal as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Kevin, it looks like you and John have the utility locator position.
Yes, sir. Tonight we have before you an option to add another position to the town for utility locator. You have a 1 page, it says 1 page, it looks like it's 3 pages, council summary, and then more executive summary for John. We'll have to go through logistics, possibly doing this. We'd like to get some feedback. Obviously, if we pursue this, it's going to require a salary ordinance change, purchase of a vehicle, software, so all of this is listed in here. We feel, staff feels that this will be a more efficient way of conducting business on locates. Right now, as a locate comes in, if you call 811, you can put in the mailbox in the front yard. 3 to few folks, up to 3 people will visit your property to locate electric, water, and wastewater. And it would be our goal to hire 1 person that's trained to do all 3 utilities and would manage that in the town. Something that we have done in the previous town during the slow period with this position, they would help with GIS or mapping for the different utilities, so that would be fill-in work. But with 252 coming up, they're going to be quite busy for the next foreseeable future.
So this is an on-call 24/7.
So the emergency locates would still go to the on-call person for each utility.
Okay.
We could fine-tune that if we need to, but this person will not be expected to be on call 24/7. We certainly would handle emergencies during normal business hours.
Yep.
Possibly fill in after hours, but my understanding with each utility as an emergency locate comes in, they'll probably handle those.
Are you on any type of time frame and wanting to get this up and going, sir?
We prefer to move as quickly as we can, just so we can start training. Not necessarily looking for a vote tonight, maybe a direction, so we can continue looking into possibly posting the job, maybe not. I'm not sure how council would feel about that. It takes a while to get the resumes in, interviews and so forth.
Internally.
Really want to start training someone ASAP.
So we will be posted internally for what, typically
Yeah,
2
They
weeks?
typically do it internally for 2 weeks, and then if that's not filled internally, then it goes out.
And this will be a 3-way split between the 3 utilities.
You just got the paperwork, so I'd like to be able to time to redo it.
We started looking at this, way back October or September of last year, 3 utilities. The 3 utility department, they came to me pitched the idea, and I said, it's, you know, a good idea. Like you said, you're sending 3 different departments out to do locates, when we could just send one to do all 3 of them. Bill reached out to different companies, trying to get a quote from them. Nobody would commit to it, the cost. They said it'd be well over $200,000. So they said we'd be better off to get our own person. Bob's looked at different vehicles, and Stephen was in part of it when he was here. Kevin came in, picked up where we left off, and wanted Kevin's input on it before we did anything. And everybody's talked together, and departments, they all agree this is the direction we'd like to go.
So direction as to whether you want to proceed with fine tuning this or it's not a viable option at all. It's kind of what you're looking for tonight. It's not necessarily that it's 100% go, just is it something that council would entertain?
Yes.
I'm personally in favor for it because I've worked with other private locating companies and I know that's not a good situation. And it's our infrastructure, and I feel like our infrastructure should be protected by people here that serve for it. I think there's a possibility that somebody could be interested internally for this, which would be even better, that might be familiar with our infrastructure. So I'm in favor of trying to at least look more into it. See how it goes. And the rest of the council, please, your input would be greatly appreciated, but I think that's,
I think it's worth looking into for sure.
Yeah, I do too. I agree.
well, as we grow and as more infrastructure comes into town, whether it be fiber, more electric, or whatever it is, gas, we're gonna have more locates. Locates don't slow down, they pick up. I can't see a year that they don't pick up, especially with 252 coming in.
We'll average 400 a month starting here. Well, today, 252 project, they're interested, locate starting today. So we already got 1,500 foot from Eisenhower to Casey to locate the next couple of days, every utility from here to there. So every water line, every electric line, every sewer line is got to be located.
Now, to piggyback on that, which is important for these guys, is it doesn't just happen once. It's gonna happen again and again and again, because they're not gonna get to it right away. It's gonna be on their schedule, but they'll keep calling relocates, and then they'll have to keep coming out and locate. It's gonna be a perpetual job to keep those locates down.
Is it every 10 days?
14, I believe.
14?
14 days, and now they're not going to do a remark. One has changed so much over
Oh,
the
God, it's
last
miserable.
year than it has the last 20.
Used to be holding on.
Fines
Yeah.
and everything else. So now it's just a new locate every 14 days.
Yeah.
Max, after they, and whether it's been hope, they keep hoping in that determined, if they say locate 2,000 feet, they're hoping that they got the first 500 done, and they can lower it to 1,500 feet and then to 1,000 feet. That's in hopes of 811, but people haven't got that figured out. Just like when they did out here by the bridge, it's like Ryan's dad's house. One company called in every 2 weeks, all summer long, and never done a thing, all summer long, because they were told by the state to keep that locate open. So we're out here, and you put down a flag, and the people come and mow their yard, and what do they do with those flags? Oh boy.
Yeah.
So then you gotta go back and re-flag.
And we are not a white line state, so a homeowner does not have to white line, so it really broadens things out. So we can get things dialed in, but that's not a requirement by Indiana 811. So inherently that takes more time too, because a front of yard could mean a lot of different things. So it's a lot for one. It's a lot of work for one person. But I feel working in my industry and these guys' industry as well, when you call in private locates, it's dodgy at best, like what you're going to get from the private companies anymore, because they're busy, they're stretched. So I think that's probably why we had a hard time getting an accurate quote from anybody, because I don't think anybody wants to take us on.
Is there any reservation with us posting the job, coming to the next council meeting with salary ordinance adjustment? And that meeting could say yea or nay, I guess. No harm, I believe, in posting it starting at 2 o'clock. Yes, moving along unless there's partner about the whole concept.
Is that what you had in mind as well, John?
Yes, I mean, the sooner the better. Because they're out doing locates every day, one or two guys, they could be out doing something else. They spend a lot of time just doing locates, where they could be doing other maintenance stuff, repairs.
Can one person do this?
That's most of it, yes, but they've all agreed that if that person needs help on it, like a sewer main, sometimes you have to use a string to get from sewer to sewer manhole. It would take two people. They all said, they stop what they're doing, send somebody to do it if they're out on a project. So.
What deal is that?
Extremely involved. And it's crucial if a strike does happen, as we found out previously with water and sewer. We need to be on our A game because they're gonna fight and not pay for what they did. Bob, Bill, anything? We dealt with that.
Billy,
You know.
at the bridge last year where they hit the 12-inch water main out the Shell, and in that Shell station, they hit the one that floods the Shell parking lot before I can get shut off. On the way for a funeral that day, so that's a long day.
That's a long bridge.
It's on Friday.
Yeah,
We was there in several times.
so it's a crucial component of our infrastructure.
We're getting damaged this year.
Yes, they have.
Well, I agree with your proposal to bring it forward, fine tune it, and get some numbers together, and hopefully maybe the next meeting, you'll have that ready for us, and have it in our packet. And Mrs. Buck isn't here tonight to have her, I'm sure she's gonna have questions as well.
So wait on the posting until the next meeting, or go ahead and start the clock on posting.
If it's internal and
Right.
if we choose for some reason it gets punted to the side, then nobody's technically out anything.
Yeah.
Now, if we advertise it outside our agency, then it's a different course of action. So
Yeah.
if we have an inclination that this is what we want to do, and I think Ms. Buck will support this, we already have that taken care of if there is an internal candidate.
So you would need a motion tonight to be able to post this position internally, correct?
I think that,
Yeah.
Justin, can it be posted internally without it being in the salary ordinance yet, or does it have to be in the salary?
It does, because you're not gonna make the hire, the only time you need to modify the salary ordinance is when you say you're gonna hire
We
this
someone's
person.
actually-
We actually add the position.
Because you may, with the internal posting or external, you may decide not to do it, candidates. You just have to amend the salary ordinance before you hire.
Okay.
So you're good to go.
Questions?
Yeah.
Then I'll make a motion to post internally the presentation for the utility locator position as presented by Mr. Coniger.
and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Kim? All right, Daniel, the tiered insurance discussion.
Some paperwork for you. Sir.
Already had a paper mark for you. Daniel, is this different than what you gave us?
So
last?
yes, this is updated, and I apologize it wasn't in your packet, that's why it's still just a discussion item, and nothing I'm gonna ask you all to vote on today. But we have been working on it even through this afternoon to try to fine tune, some of this information. The cover sheet there with that summary, this kind of like the items that we have in this packet, there's the tiered risk and insurance requirements. This is what was in the last packet, but it's been fine tuned even more so after we discussed internally some of that. Plus we got some recommendations from Charlie through our insurance that caused us to make some modifications as well. The second sheet that you'll find in this packet is town used vendors and our suggested tier levels for that. Something you'll see on some of the tiers is the NA, and basically that means it's not applicable to this tier system. So these are companies that have insurance coverage that well exceeds what we normally ask for anyways, or is just a different kind of category, so it doesn't make sense to fall into our tiers. I also included a waiver that was provided by our town's insurance company that we use for additional risk mitigation. This is what we use for like the ice rink. We also had a copy of this that we utilize for kids to sign 4th of July before we allowed them to use bounce houses, those types of things. And then I also put a band performance agreement. This isn't something that we've utilized yet, but this is a document that I'd like for the council to maybe give us permission to slide in Dustin's direction so he can review it and turn it into a document that's acceptable for the town to use when hiring bands. A lot of communities just go by the band's contract, and they're all so different. And if we do that, then the safe way to handle that would be every time we get a contract, give it to Mr. Huddleston and ask him to review it. But if we have a band agreement that he has helped create, then we know we're safe once it's signed, and that prevents having that labor of going back and forth. So, like I said, the purpose of these documents, that we're trying to provide you with the rationale for why a tiered system makes sense. Give you options where it makes sense to take some appropriate risk, and then give you the examples of companies that we've used and where their insurance falls. That's kind of how we lay them out in the different tiers, and from looking at what they have and what we've accepted in the past. And then we do want to look at other ways to mitigate risk, so it makes it more comfortable for us to look at this as a tiered approach. Some simple things like having the waiver, having really good contracts that we sign, whether it's the rental agreements that we have at Park and Rec, or it's the band contract, or whatever it is, making sure those contracts are good. We've done more things also, like festivals. Something we've done since Mr. Myers has actually been here is we have hard stops in areas when we have festivals and all. We've always coned things off, but it was one of those things you never thought about, a vehicle driving through a festival. But an outside perspective comes in, and that was another way for us to mitigate the risk of having something like that. So I'm not going to read through every detail on this, because I'll give you all the opportunity to do that yourselves. And some of this you've already seen. I would love for you all to read through it, and then any adjustments we make or any new information we have, we'll make sure it's available in your packet before the following meeting, the next meeting, that first meeting in March. And then if you all are ready, we'd love for a vote so that we can start utilizing this tiered approach with vendors, so that we can start getting some of these people scheduled for events and uses throughout this coming season. So, any questions or any additional information you'd like to have?
Should we require any insurance, them to carry any insurance?
Yes, yeah. So this will still require insurance from all these different, but it'll be
Like
different
vendors and
levels.
stuff like that?
Yeah. So right now what the town has been operating at is basically our $5 million coverage has been across the board. That's not historically how it's been, and talking to other companies, or other communities, that's not how they're handling different vendors, depending on the size of that vendor and the type of vendor that they're bringing in. So what we're trying to do is look at the vendor specifically, try to figure out what kind of risk is going to be associated with if we allow a lower insurance coverage, so that we can make sure the town is safe, but still give ourselves an opportunity to hire lower cost vendors or vendors that are appropriate for the different programming that we're doing. So, for example, we couldn't get carriages this last year because of the insurance differences. Now they still aren't designated in this policy, because there's still going to be one that we'll probably have to bring to you special and have more discussion about it, because there is risk associated with that. And if we can't find a common ground between us, we'll either have to decide that we're not going to have carriages, or that we're going to assume some of that risk. And what that will look like, what things we want to put in place to help mitigate it in other ways. But that'll be a discussion for the future. Does that answer your question?
I just know it's, the liability is really cheap for them to get. You know?
Yes.
uh,
We found that most people have insurance, it's just having the amount that we
Yeah,
require.
to cover.
And the way it was explained to us from Charlie, from our insurance company, is basically say, ours is a $5 million policy. If someone comes to us with a $3 million, then that additional $2 million difference is the risk that we're taking on if there is something that comes our direction, if there is some kind of a claim against us. So the town has to make those decisions in those instances. Are we willing to take the risk of that additional $2 million in insurance coverage? And I think for a lot of these vendors, it's worthwhile taking those risks because of the rewards that come with being able to work with these different companies. So, but that's also why I want to present to you all and get your take on all of those.
Any other questions for Daniel, Council?
And Daniel, I'm sorry, and you probably said this, but other towns use the same process?
No town that we have found has something as organized as what this is. Other towns definitely are all over the place in what they require. I mean, we spoke to one community that doesn't even require like band contracts. They don't do hold harmless. Nothing that I would suggest, but then we've seen it at the other end as well. So
Or some that the cities or towns provide the insurance period. And
yes,
the people have the bare minimum that they have to provide.
yeah, and that's something we spoke with Charlie about as well, because there's policies that the town can take on for different festivals, for vendors that are going to be there. It's just kind of one of those cost analysis of trying to decide if we put those extra funds towards that, is it worth it for the reward that comes with having those vendors in place? So that's an option as well. And we've got, I don't believe he actually gave us any hard numbers for that, but he did give us because there's a lot that'll go into filling out that insurance policy before we can get hard numbers from Charlie on that.
And so far, the only real problem we had with this, basically, before this change was the carriage rides, right? Did we have, was that the major thing?
The bounce houses and,
Did we have
actually,
those?
The issue that John had brought up, a few meetings ago with the company that was coming in, but they were only coming in for like a couple of hours, so they didn't, so.
Fine, Peter, the cemetery, the tree companies. What else was there, Stan?
We have the graders that come in and just put that leaf on, that's all we do. And we don't contract them, the owners of the body, obviously contract them, but they're working on our property.
Wow.
We have this issue with funeral homes, could be dropped into that category, that are working on our property, we don't contract them.
So technically goes deeper than
Yes.
Park and Rec.
Yeah, that's why when you look at this list
vendor-
of companies that we gave you, and it's two-sided on one.
Mhm.
And some of them, it doesn't catch everyone. When Mary ran a report for all the vendors we work for, it's like 4,000. But we tried to designate ones that we have used in recent year, and ones that actually do work on site, not ones that were just purchasing things from.
Right.
But yeah, it hits all departments. It's a bigger issue a lot of times in parks because we deal with smaller vendors who historically don't have as large of insurance policies. You get with some of these like utility departments, a lot of big vendors they've got really big policies. I mean, we looked at some of the people that do road work and they've got like $15 million. So it's not an issue with them. But just the situations are different. I mean, I sent Charlie an email to clarify on like Fall Diamond rentals because Do you look for the same amount of coverage if it's just a single team wanting to rent to do a practice and there's no fans, there's only 12 to 15 kids out there as you do for a tournament director that comes in there and rents a ball diamond and has fans, concessions over and all. There's differences. We want to make sure we are covered if something happens, but what ways can we mitigate risk so that we're not going so far that we're not able to do things that we want to do? And that's what we've tried to do here, and I won't promise it's a perfect system. The four of us looked it over and assigned tiers, and it probably will be an annual, maybe more than that thing where we come back and say, no, we had these as a tier 2, or this is what our parameters were for tier 2. Well, we need to change our parameters for tier 2. We found to this. It'll be a work in progress, I'm sure.
Well, good job, Daniel, for coming up with this system.
Well, it was a group effort. Ms. Drybread, Mr. Myers, Ms. Patterson, all four of us worked a lot on it. So.
I appreciate it, all of you.
Could I ask if Mr. Huddleston could look at the band contract and the waiver, though, to start getting that process going? We could have those at least in place while you all have more time to review the rest of this information.
Do you need to make a motion for that? Make a motion that we allow Mr. Huddleston to look at the band contract and what was the other one?
The waiver.
And the waiver for the future.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. I do have another copy for Ms. Buck. Should I leave that here or just?
Yeah. Please. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on to other business. I'm sorry, Daniel, I didn't mean to cut you off. Are you good?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay,
Thank
all
you.
right. Mike, do you have anything?
No, really.
Sherry, do you have anything?
I do not see him.
Nope, I'm good to know.
A couple of things wanted to talk about. So we're looking at why we brought Baker Tilly in and how we're trying to figure out ways with SE, SA1, SE.
It's SBA1, SB1.
Thank you, Scott. I knew I'd count on you. We're going to look at a deficit, as a lot of communities are. So Bill had alluded to earlier, there was a leak, didn't know where the leak was. So when Bill and I talked about this, our fire suppression systems are currently not metered. They're not. So Bill picked me up if I start dropping the ball here. But if we would have a leak on a fire suppression system or a fire would happen in a system that's tied into it, that water is unmetered. They pay a fee. Bill, am I right with this? A monthly fee for that?
They need for every fire connection.
Okay, but that's what it is. So if they use 1 million gallons on a warehouse fire, 1 million gallons is gone, it's unaccounted for. So on a normal month, minus testing or whatever, anything else, that bill will be the minimal bill, whatever we decide that is for that system. But in the event there is a fire, insurance will probably validate that bill if they use 1 million gallons down at Foods, and I pray that doesn't happen. But we have to have some form of reclaiming that money. Or, in the current circumstance, there was a leak on a fire suppression system, and we lost roughly 200,000 gallons on this per day.
A day for since January 26th.
Wow.
That's a lot of water. That's a lot of pumping to get that water. That costs money. So Bill and I, we switched out. There's a new system, the Mach 10 meters. We're working on how we can put flow meters to identify that rate that we go through these. We don't know if we can retroactively put these on fire suppression systems, but any new ones, we think we can. So what I would like is for Dustin to look at work with Bill on how we can draft a ordinance, a proposal on how we can move forward. Even maybe, I don't know if we can do it on existing fire suppression. I think we can, but we'll have to investigate that further so that we can try to reclaim some of that money that could be lost through that. And I would tentatively say that money would be paid for. I understand it's a hardship, but that's what insurance is for.
Yeah.
So if they did use 1 million gallons of water on an industrial fire, which this is going to hit an industrial user, commercial user. It's not going to be a residential. There are, truly, I can't think of one residential fire suppression that's probably in our system.
The only one is Newberry.
And that's technically not residential. I mean, it's residential living, but it's a system it's a fire suppression system where our homes won't have a fire suppression system. So I don't think we're outside of private companies, I think such as Indiana American Water and some of the others already meter their fire suppression systems, and we need to as well. We need to be compensated for that. We have to be mindful of those things, looking at any time as being a steward of the money, but especially with the deficit, proposed deficit, which is kind of why we were trying to talk with Bob and Driftwood about how do we help with wastewater. So it's all things that we're trying to be proactive on and figure out if we can recoup some of this money. So if with council approval, I would like to see if Dustin could look into working with Bill about how many claims it was. You guys would be interested in that.
So how do you get the fire suppression meter system? Do you have to add that to?
So it'll be a metered system with that. We'll have a flow water device on that. So we tap into our mains now, our main trunk lines, and then when we make the taps, that goes directly into a building's fire suppression system. There's no
Okay.
connection in between.
Okay.
So what we want to do, or what our proposal is to do, is to put a system in that we can monitor that water that goes from our main to their fire suppression system. Because what we have currently on a residential or commercial is everything between the main and our meter is ours. Everything beyond the meter pit on is the customer's. And that's their responsibility. But right now, it's kind of just a free-for-all on that water. So we're not rewriting everything, but we're trying to make it so we can reclaim.
Should we have probably had this in place a long time ago?
I think, in fairness for that, we didn't have a lot of fire suppression systems. But as the community is going to grow and as our infrastructure is growing further south, we can't continue to give that away. That's why I think some of this can be reclaimed if we can access the system. Now, if it's digging up a road or however, a lot of fire suppression systems are on a vault, and there's a vault in between that's where their pumps are or their post indicator valves. Any of that is there, so we could probably access this on some of the existing stuff. So I'm hoping that we can capture some of this. I would like to see what we can get in respect to our current systems that are in place. If we can monitor that, and then everything moving forward should be implemented to have a flow meter, some type of a metered system, so we can get that revenue back in the event of. I mean, really, it's more. And it's unfortunate, it's tragic, any fire, but leaks are probably more probable than a fire. That's just a higher statistic. I can't say that 100%. I fix leaks for a living, so does Bill and Bob. There's a lot of leaks. And so not give that away, and that might be motivation to have an agency or a private organization fix their system if it's leaking and they're getting charged for it. That's also a safe assumption too. Because right now, if it's leaking and they know they're not getting charged for it, then it's not a big deal.
It's like a residential.
Yeah.
They'll
I
fix it.
often wondered about that.
So for years, we've always, for whatever size connection there is, there's just a monthly fee for that connection, whether you use water or don't. So I think that's what they did years ago in place. But with modern technology, they're fitting meters on, around, backflows in vaults to be able to measure flow and determine what that usage is for those people that actually do go in and tap into a fire system and use that water for public use or whatever. We don't see, because we don't go into all these different factors.
So, and that's the other caveat too. Once it's beyond and it's in the ground or it's in a pit or in a building, we don't know definitively that the water is being used just for fire suppression.
Right.
Because we can't go in and check that. So that's what Bill's saying there, is that it could be free water for some, and we don't know it. So this is a way to try to safeguard that.
But you don't entertain the motion on it. Definitely box that up. So true. How do you think it should be worded?
Draft an ordinance on fire suppression system.
So move.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Can you work on that with Dustin, Bill?
If you want to send me an email with any questions, then I can send you my suggestions, and we can go from there. Because I feel like the main break we have is right here at Dan's, right? At that garage door. It's all brand new concrete, and it was busted, and it was just barely trickling out of the ground. I've been looking for it for 2 weeks. Our max, we got it shut off, and then when we cut the concrete out, and we started digging, it looked like there was never nothing wrong. But as soon as we turned it on, I mean, it was blowing. So, which was good for where I got on, that way from a lot of concrete. Just to be able to have something in there that says, hey, I know that our average is this, and for the last 7 weeks, we've been up to
For
this.
sure.
That's on
And Edinburgh soil composition, and these guys that all dig in, especially Stan, we are sand. And
Yeah.
sand is a great hider. It'll take it and disappear. You won't even know you have
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
We've all, these guys, myself included, you dig in it, it's a different kind of animal. Or you're down in Brown County where there's clay and you're gonna
Yeah.
see it really quick, so we fight that battle because we're in a river bottom. That's why we had the flooding we had in '08. So it's a good thing because water doesn't stand, but it's a bad thing because water doesn't stand, it disappears. So, thank you for letting us look into that. I think it's a real proactive approach. I don't think I have anything further. Dustin, do you have anything?
Nope.
Rhonda?
Yeah, I mentioned in my staff report that our website provider is going away. So Emily and Sarah Beth have started the process. They're going to meet with other providers just to try to find somebody. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that, just to know that, yeah, we'll be, towards the end of the year, we'll hopefully have a company picked out. And actually, it'll probably need to be sooner than that because it takes, 6 months to process?
Yeah, we've
So-
given them all like a 4 to 6 month ask for a timeline so that it's done at least a month or two before the end of the year. That way we don't have anything in limbo.
So we may be coming to you sooner with a new company for approval.
John?
No, sir.
Chief Little?
Take a motion for Mother Nature to make it spring.
Yeah,
Amen.
definitely, chief.
John, you got anything? Julie?
Nothing tonight.
Bob? Stan?
Nothing about it over next week. So, roughly, we have viewers have done the passed up on one truck, pricing discount. Kind of last minute, that's what I'm going to make sure is cross line out to the next week.
Stan? Sean? Bill?
No, I appreciate it.
Kevin?
Good, thanks.
Sarah Beth?
Just to piggyback off what Rhonda just said, I did want to put out to the department heads this morning for any council. If there's anything on the website currently, or if you ever hear feedback from people that find things difficult to navigate, or just any feedback, if you could let Emily and I know. We're just trying to make a lot of notes so that whatever company we end up going with, that we've got a really good lead on how we want things to look and how user-friendly we want the website to be, not only on our back end, but for the user. So if you see anything or notice anything or hear from the public, please let us know. Just working on a lot of different grants and trying to wrap up Ready 2.0 project proposals right now.
Thank you, Sarah Beth. Daniel?
Our basketball season ended Saturday, and if you were wondering, yes, 6, 7, and 8-year-olds do shoot a lot of three-pointers. Steph Curry has influenced them already, but it was a good day. We had some fans get a little out of hand, so I do want to thank Chief Little for having a little support there, just to make sure it didn't get out too bad. So, but it was a good day. We are in the middle of our baseball and softball, t-ball signups are going on right now. Taking seasonal applications for lifeguards, concession workers, all that fun. And then our father-daughter dance happened, and it was great as well. We got a lot of adorable young ladies with fathers who probably dressed, a little different than they're used to dressing every day. So it was a good night as well. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Daniel. Gets everybody on our leadership Open it up for public comment. If there are any, please state your name and your address for the record. Motion to adjourn. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for attending.